This is from the Denver Post. Suncor Oil Refinery spews 8.5 tons a year of cyanide gas over low-income North Denver neighborhoods, state records show. And this is happening all over the country. Environmental attorneys and residents petition EPA and the CDPHE, the Colorado Health Department, to at least require disclosure of the hydrogen cyanide emissions. So what happened was the Colorado Health Department all of a sudden changed their rules in 2015. And that sort of coincides with large donations that were given to people in power in Colorado. Surprise, surprise. Suncor Oil Refinery, community groups in Globeville, Swansea, and Elria this week petitioned the Environmental Protection Agency to require Colorado health officials to set a limit to the that protects people and at least require Suncor to disclose emissions and gas to local emergency responders. CDPHE, I'm just going to say the Colorado Health Department, air quality control officials in January, this is just in January, approved a change to Suncor's air pollution permit that exempts the company from a federal requirement to disclose hydrogen cyanide emissions. The officials set an emission limit of 12.8 tons a year, higher than the 8.5 tons Suncor reported in its emits, for the purpose of letting Suncor use a legal loophole that lets companies with permitted limits avoid disclosure of their emissions to state documents. We're talking about emissions of cyanide. Cyanide is classified as a chemical weapon. And the health department in Colorado changed the rules so that Suncor would no longer have to disclose how much cyanide they were putting out into the air. Why would the health department do that? The health department action overrode objections by Adams County commissioners who raised health concerns and said transparency is vital for emergency crews to be able to respond to potential hazards. And they're used to potential hazards because this place put out a cloud of orange smoke. I think it was maybe a year or 2 years ago, an orange plume that covered the whole city. And it was not thoroughly investigated. This place was fined and paid something like $2.2 million for putting out too much toxins. I think it was in 2014. So time and time again, they're used to this place just pumping out so much pollution into the air where these people live, low-income North Denver neighborhoods, and now they're making it so they can basically just do it when it's happened so many times before. It's absurd to think state health officials would even consider granting permits to pollute more. The state health officials are completely failing to protect these neighborhoods, and they are disregarding the cumulative impact of many pollutants in the area, Cross Community Coalition Director Candy said. The ideal would be that we aren't letting them put that into the air at all. And if they are, we would know how to respond. Hydrogen cyanide is a colorless gas smelling faintly of almond that at high exposure levels attacks the brain, the heart, causing rapid breathing, convulsions, and loss of consciousness, according to the U.S. Agency of Toxic Substances. Lower level exposures are linked to breathing trouble, headaches, enlarged thyroid, cancer. The Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons classified hydrogen cyanide as a chemical weapon. Upwind of Denver, in Commerce City, Suncor emits the hydrogen cyanide from a fuel catalytic cracking unit that is part of the company's crude oil processing. So if it's about oil, then it's okay if people die and suffer. And that's what's happening all over the country as corporate politicians fill their pockets with money from big oil and petroleum. Americans get sicker and no one has health care. That doesn't sound like a good deal to me. The health department replied on data collected. Suncor collected the data, by the way. The actual company collected the data to calculate hydrogen cyanide. Air concentrations around the refinery as 5 parts per billion, more than 7 times higher than the EPA's 0.7 ppb risk threshold, records show. And they're just allowed to do this. And the people are sick in the area. Now, Suncor and the health department said that the people are not sick in the area. But again and again, you will see local interviews of people who are saying they are having respiratory problems. They are sick. They are having severe headaches. There have been a large number of cancer, people who have developed cancer. And Suncor and the health department say that people are they're not sick and they're not being affected. So this is their history real quick, Suncor's history of violations. In 2012, state regulators fined Suncor $2.2 million for violations related to benzene air pollution above limits from the refinery. Benzene causes cancer. I went to a hearing here in Buffalo when they were trying to put the pipeline through here, which we stopped. We stopped it. But there was a man in there who went to every single one of the hearings and told a story about his wife who died of a rare form of cancer from benzene. And there was also a nurse there who went to every single one and told her story about how she works at the Cancer Institute and she sees all the time children and elderly people coming in with a rare form of cancer from benzene, because that was happening over there in Buffalo, coming from the generators that they were using when moving the gas across New York State. So again, they were fined $2.2 million for benzene air pollution. In 2015, state regulators ordered Suncor to fix other pollution problems detected in 2013 and in 2014. Suncor at one point negotiated, this is great, you should be able to negotiate a deal when you're killing people. Suncor at one point negotiated a deal to avoid admitting law violations in return for paying a $214,000 administrative penalty. So if you have the money, you can pay for the fines and keep pumping the air full of toxins. And that's what happens all over the country. That should be a t-shirt. And that's what happens all over the country. Here's the plume of smoke. November 30th, 2011, Suncor Energy Refinery north of downtown Denver called sources. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the black goo. This was when the black goo was happening. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Suncor Refinery. Where's the goo? Suncor Energy Refinery north of downtown Denver called source of black goo. Federal emergency response coordinators say an underground plume of black goo spreading from Suncor Energy Refinery north of downtown Denver is the source of the black goo leaking into Sand Creek and South Platte River. And all they have to do is pay their fines and everything is okay. Where was the plume of orange smoke? Suncor Refinery accidentally released 75,000 pounds of sulfur dioxide, 150 times daily limit. Suncor admits sulfur dioxide released was 150 times higher than the limits, but say there was no health risks. Done. Done. This is the country we're living in right now. Cory Gardner, Senator, Republican, Colorado, $97,000 from Club for Growth. First of all, so Club for Growth is a conservative group which advocates for the limited government and free market policies. According to its website, it will take on any candidate who doesn't support its views, regardless of the party. So there was a huge article as well in the Denver Post, or Denver, I'm sorry, whatever the Denver news outlet is, that dark money had contributed insanely large amounts to the last campaign for congressmen in Colorado. So wouldn't you know, $97,000 he got from the Club for Growth, and the club has received money from Koch brothers, Koch-linked groups, including Center to Protect Patient Rights. Several of the club's board members have ties to the Koch brothers. Additionally, the group has worked with other known Koch affiliates. So there you go, the Koch brothers. Suncor is a Canadian company, oil and petroleum company that is located in Alberta in Canada, and the Koch brothers own huge amounts of land up there. Well, it's over here as well in Alberta. Huge amounts of land for oil refineries in Alberta. So hey, when the Koch brothers want something, they get it at the cost of the Americans' lives and futures. His other major donors, Anadarko Petroleum, and the Koch Institute, and a lobbying firm. Paid. Bought and paid. The governor of Colorado bought and paid. The citizens of Colorado have black goop seeping into their rivers and plumes of toxic smoke. And the children can't breathe. I'm sorry, Cory Gardner is a senator, Republican senator in Colorado. This is the governor, but same difference because he has the same ties and is getting the same money. In fact, a hell of a lot of money. Governor John Hickenloopers. He is a Democrat and he is in bed with oil and gas. So his campaign finance, he's got a lot of money coming in. He has nearly $6 million in campaign donations. And the top industry was uncoded. Then lobbyists and oil and gas.